G'day, it's Blaze Hackman Industries, and today we're looking at some old surf footage from 2009, and this is my first use of my studio using my new Sennheiser 416 microphone, which I've used professionally for a long time. And I bought one for myself, and I've got an Apollo Solo and a new MacBook Pro M3 here that I'm using, so stats for nerds there. But here's a bunch of stuff that I found on the computer. This is me and my kids. This guy here on the right is now 18. He's driving. And I'm looking a lot younger. The hair's not grey. And then the other little guy there before. This one here, the naughty one, he's around about 16 now. So you can see, hang on, I'm just going to clear my throat, that this is a long time ago. And I did have an edit of this on YouTube from years ago where I just cut together some surfing, but I just thought it'd be an interesting comparison. And the first thing I noticed with this is that so what we're trying to do here is, back then you put the mount on the front of the board. It was all about me and filming myself, and so you'd mount the GoPro so it was pointing back at you, and you're in the backyard in Bondi, just setting up the angle so we could capture everything. And you'll notice this is it's probably 1080 widescreen format. So the whole screen is full. And there I'm just trying to account for trying to capture myself in the right angle. And I remember from experience, this took a while to set up. And you get that mount, you know, the one you stuck to the edge of the board. And my son, he's trying to line it up as well. And just trying to get it right so that you can go out there and waste a lot of time. And then here it's gone to 4:3, and the whole video stays like this in this 4:3 mode, but I think the angle's better. So maybe what I did was I needed to capture a taller 4:3 version to get myself in the frame. That's probably why I did it. I thought initially I'd made a mistake. And there's nothing to stop me from cropping this later on, but I never did that. And also back then, I think 2009, this was like 15 years ago, the settings, it was a monochrome screen on the GoPro. It's impossible to see. You're stabbing buttons all day long, and you kind of ended up with this. Sometimes it wasn't perfect. Also, you'll notice the sound of this is just shocking. Now, the first wave of duck under, you can see that the mount is loose. I probably needed to screw tighten it, or I thought, it'll be okay to hand tighten it, and then when a decent wave came along, it would knock the camera down, so it's just looking at the board. So I'm paddling out at Bondi as usual, and copping sets on the head. Technically, I still have this problem. Nathan Florence doesn't, I think, but you got to use something like Rain X or something to bead the water so it doesn't stick to the lens and, make the whole day a waste of time. But something about this footage is really attractive because there's no filters across or anything, but it's a bit contrasty, and you can see the oranges are a bit overblown when I'm facing the other direction later on in the video. But here there's just something beautiful, and I just kept on. I got so many screenshots of this set of videos, more than any other video I've ever made, of the sun behind me and getting that J.J. Abrams Star Trek lens flare happening. But yeah, I have to be more disciplined with putting the Rain X to stop the water beading, because it's still a problem, or I need it to bead and fall off the lens. So we're paddling out here and just duck diving. And the other problem back then was now GoPro will do see how it's more orange now. So I actually get up on a wave. This is a decent ride, I guess, for first up. I don't even remember this wetsuit. Still going. This is a Mark Richards Mustang, like epoxy board back then. Very light, buoyant, but a bit too small for me. But the sun behind me is a lot better shot than when it's in my face and it's overblown and orange. And the technology back then just wasn't as good for certain angles. And definitely the sound was unusable. Now you can get decent audio of a GoPro 9 or 10, which is what I use. That's a great shot from underneath though, with that kind of turquoise effect of the water breaking up. Here we're going left. Once again, camera gets knocked down. But yeah, the audio, you can hear some speaking, but it's not enough to actually know what the person's saying. It's very muted, what do you want to call it? But when I go out, especially with a bunch of people in the surf club, it sounds a lot better on the GoPro 9 or 10. And the stabilization is another issue. Plus it's all, 4K wide, so you feel more of the screen. It's not this old TV format, and you're getting better images overall. And here's the repeat problem. And this is one of the things now I don't even use this system anymore. So we're going left. That's this one. Oh, he's actually pig dogging it to the left. That's a surf term for squatting down low and, trying to lower your center of gravity. That's a great shot. Oh, in fact, I'm going to have a problem which thumbnail I'm going to use because I've got so many that I could use here. But now GoPro, I'm a left-hander, got more waves than I thought. The files are like 15 minutes long, I think 8 or 15 minutes. So it creates like 4 different files in a session if you ride for an hour, for example, on a bike or whatever. And then you can just take that and ingest it and edit from there. But back in these days, you sort of you're always going to be a slave to a camera when you're out there in the surf. It always is going to make the surf a little bit shit, or you're going to alter your behavior for the camera. Doesn't matter which way you're facing. I put the camera forward now and I use a mouth mount, which is a lot easier and better than this setup. It's like a buoyant, floaty, fluorescent orange mouth mount. And then I sling it around my back with a lasso, and when a wave comes, I just shove it in my mouth. And generally, I still do turn it off and on, but I could just as easily keep it running, and we could make one large file. But I try and cut out, there I go, ejected. I try and be pretty sure that I'm going to get the wave and get some content and just record that wave. But here, I had 60 individual files, I remember. Another great shot, because the sun's dipping now, and it's actually looking a lot better, the footage. And none of this has been graded, it's just all raw footage. There's another nice long ride. So the angle's great. And I don't usually catch this angle anymore, but I just think it's far more interesting watching the ocean than the person. Although Kyle Lenny does get some good ones at Mavericks or Jaws of him wiping out, or at Nazaire. Like that stuff, you can really appreciate the size of the wave, but any GoPro's always going to it's getting quite late now. Look at that. See, actually the camera's adjusted quite a bit depending on where you're aligned. This is a great shot. So there's large adjustments in the lens, and so it looks like 2 different days, but it's all the one session. But ultimately, with a GoPro, a wave's always going to look small, just the way the lens is. It always looks a lot smaller than it actually is. But you can see it's come a long way. This is footage from 15 years ago. It's still good stuff. The audio is a bit rubbish, but bang, got wiped out there. But overall, we've come a long way with GoPros. You basically, you want to have them so you just don't know they're there. You just go for your surf and you forget about it, and you come home and you import all the stuff. Anyway, that's my little retrospective of GoPro 2009 versus where we are now. Who knows where we'll be next? I think lens technology, if they can improve that and make things look as they are, that would be a lot better. But hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed the improved audio quality, because I now have my own self-contained studio. And this is broadcast standard microphone, and expect more content like this. All right, I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.